Thank you. Chapter 2, there is a solution. We of Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands of men and women who were once just as hopeless as Bill. Nearly all have recovered. They have solved the drink problem. We are average Americans. All sections of this country and many of its occupants are represented, as well as many political, economic, social, and religious backgrounds. We are people who normally would not mix. But there exists among us a fellowship, a friendliness, and an understanding which is indescribably wonderful. We are like the passengers of a great liner the moment after rescue from shipwreck, when camaraderie, joyousness, and democracy pervade the vessel from steerage to captain's table. Unlike the feelings of the ship's passengers, however, our joy in escape from disaster does not subside as we go our individual ways. The feeling of having shared in a common peril is one element in the powerful cement which binds us, but that in itself would never have held us together as we are now joined. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news this book carries to those who suffer from alcoholism. An illness of this sort, and we have come to believe it is an illness, involves those about us in a way no other human sickness can. If a person has cancer, all are sorry for him and no one is angry or hurt, but not so with alcoholic illness, for with it there goes annihilation of all the things worthwhile in life. It engulfs all whose lives touch the sufferers. It brings misunderstanding, fierce resentment, financial insecurity, disgusted friends and employers, warped lives of blameless children, sad wives and parents. Anyone can increase the list. We hope this volume will inform and comfort those who are or who may be affected. There are many. Highly competent psychiatrists who have dealt with us have found it sometimes impossible to persuade an alcoholic to discuss his situation without reserve. Strangely enough, wives, parents, and intimate friends usually find us even more unapproachable than do the psychiatrist and the doctor. But the ex-problem drinker who has found this solution, who is properly armed with the facts about himself, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a few hours. Until such an understanding is reached, little or nothing can be accomplished.
Hey, stop right there for a second. So everybody bracket that paragraph about the ex-pro who is found, who is properly armed with the facts. This is really important. This is why AA works and psychotherapy does not work long-term in alcoholism. Okay, keep going.
That the man who is making the approach has had the same difficulty, that he obviously knows what he is talking about, that his whole deportment shouts at the new prospect that he is a man with a real answer, that he has no attitude of holier than thou, nothing whatever except the sincere desire to be helpful, that there are no fees to pay, no axes to grind, no people to please, no lectures to be endured. These are the conditions we have found most effective. After such an approach, many take up their beds and walk again.
Okay, right there, stop. Just like Lazarus, right?
Pass, yes.
Lazarus, like what? Okay,
Lazarus.
Over on page 17, the last paragraph, a lot of times you hear this quoted, you guys can bracket this and underline it. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news this book carries to those who suffer. So this is another line in this chapter that's quoted. And also the very first sentence, we of Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands of men and women who were just as hopeless as Bill, as referring to Bill Wilson. Nearly all have recovered and they have solved the drink problem. So this is another one that's often quoted to new people. All right, so now we're going to turn the page. We're going to go over to the very next one with 19, which is None of Us, and Tamika, you're up. None of us
makes a sole vocation of this work. nor do we think its effectiveness would be increased if we did. We feel that elimination of our drinking is but a beginning. A much more important demonstration of our principles lies before us in our respective homes, occupations, and affairs. All of us spend much of our spare time in the sort of effort which we are going to describe. A few are fortunate enough to be so situated that they can give nearly all their time to the work. If we keep on the way we are going, there is little doubt that much good will result. But the surface of the problem would hardly be scratched. Those of us who live in large cities are overcome by the reflection that close by hundreds are dropping into oblivion each day. Many could recover if they had the opportunity we have enjoyed. How then shall we present that which have been so freely given us? We have concluded to publish an anonymous volume setting forth the problem as we see it. We shall bring to the task our combined experience and knowledge. This should suggest a useful program for anyone concerned with the drinking problem. Of necessity, there will have to be discussion of matters medical, psychiatric, social, and religious. We are aware that these matters are, from their very nature, controversial. Nothing would please us so much as to write a book which would contain no basis for contention or argument. We shall do our utmost to achieve that ideal. Most of us sense that real tolerance of other people's shortcomings and viewpoints and the respect for their opinions are attitude which makes us more useful to others. Our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend upon our constant thought of others and how we may help meet their needs. You may have already have asked yourself, why is it that all of us become so very ill from drinking? Doubtless, you are curious to discover how and why, in the face of expert opinion to the contrary. We have recovered from a hopeless condition of mind and body. If
Stop
you
right
are
there for a second, just so here, this line, it says we have, so underline this, we have recovered from a hopeless condition of mind and body. If you're an alcoholic who wants to get over it, you may already be asking, what do I have to do? So this line that we suffer from a hopeless condition of mind and body, you often hear that quoted in AA meetings. Okay, go ahead, keep going, Tamika.
It is the purpose of this book to answer such questions specifically. We shall tell you what we have done. Before going into a detailed discussion, it may be well to summarize some points as we see them. How many times people have said to us, I can take it or leave it alone. Why can't he? Why don't you drink like a gentleman or quit? That fellow can't handle his liquor. Why don't you try beer and wine? Lay off the hard stuff. His willpower must be weak. He could stop if he wanted to. She's such a sweet girl. I should think he'd stop for her sake. The doctor told him that if he ever drank again, it would kill him. But there he is, all lit up again. Now, these are commonplace observations on drinkers, which we hear all the time. Back of them is a world of ignorance and misunderstanding. We see that these expressions refer to people whose reactions are very different from ours. Moderate drinkers have little trouble in giving up liquor entirely if they have a good reason for it. They can take it or leave it alone. Then we have a certain type of hard drinker. He may have the habit badly enough to gradually impair him physically and mentally. It may cause him to die a few years before his time. If a sufficiently strong reason, ill health, falling in love, change of environment, or the warning of a doctor becomes operative, this man can also stop or moderate, although he may find it difficult and troublesome and may even need medical attention.
Okay, right there, good enough. Thank you for reading. Jason, you are up. You're next.
Jason, alcoholic. But what about the real alcoholic? He may start off as a moderate drinker. He may or may not become a continuous hard drinker, but at some stage of his drinking career, he begins to lose all control of his liquor consumption, once he starts to drink. Here is the fellow who has been puzzling you, especially in his lack of control. He does absurd, incredible, tragic things while drinking. He is a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is seldom mildly intoxicated. He is always more or less insanely drunk. His disposition while drinking resembles his normal nature, but little. He may be one of the finest fellows in the world, yet let him drink for a day, and he frequently becomes disgustingly and even dangerously antisocial.
Okay, stop
He
right
has
there for a second. So let's see that. So he's the real doctor. This whole paragraph, bracket that one. This is one, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality, often referred to in AA meetings. Keep going.
He has a positive genius for getting tight at exactly the wrong moment, particularly when some important decision must be made or engagement kept. He is often perfectly sensible and well balanced concerning everything except liquor, but in that respect he is incredibly dishonest and selfish. He often possesses social abilities, skills, and aptitudes, and has a promising career ahead of him. He uses his gifts to build up a bright outlook for his family and himself, and then pulls the structure down on his head by a senseless series of sprees. He is the fellow who goes to bed so intoxicated he ought to sleep the clock around. Yet, early next morning, he searches madly for the bottle he misplaced the night before. If he can afford it, he may have liquor concealed all over his house, to be certain no one gets his entire supply away from him to throw down the waste pipe. As matters grow worse, he begins to use a combination of high-powered sedative and liquor to quiet his nerves so he can go to work. Then comes the day when he simply cannot make it and gets drunk all over again. Perhaps he goes to a doctor who gives him morphine or some sedative with which to taper off. Then he begins to appear at hospitals and sanitariums. This is by no means a comprehensive picture of the true alcoholic, as our behavior patterns vary, but this description should identify him roughly.
Stop right there again. So now they're talking about having people go to treatment centers back in the 1930s. And if you notice today, there are tons of treatment centers, tons of sober living homes, tons of rehab centers. But in the 1930s, this is the exact description of what we have today. And we're no better off today than we were then. Unless, of course, you come to AA meetings and you get sober and stay sober, because this is the long-term treatment program for alcoholics. Okay, go ahead, keep going, Jason.
Why does he behave like this? If hundreds of experiences have shown him that one drink means another debacle with all its attendant suffering and humiliation, why is it he takes that one drink? Why can't he stay on the water wagon? What has become of the common sense and willpower that he still sometimes displays with respect to other matters? Perhaps there never will be a full answer to these questions. Opinions vary considerably as to why the alcoholic reacts differently from normal people. We are not sure why. Once a certain point is reached, little can be done for him. We cannot answer the riddle. We know that while the alcoholic keeps away from drink, as he may do for months or years, he reacts much like other men. We are equally positive that once he takes any alcohol, whatever, into his system, something happens, both in the bodily and mental sense, which makes it virtually impossible for him to stop. The experience of any alcoholic will abundantly confirm this. These observations would be academic and pointless if our friend never took the first drink, thereby setting the terrible cycle in motion. Therefore, the main problem of the alcoholic centers in the mind rather than in the body. If you ask him why he started on that last bender, the chances are he will offer you any one of 100 alibis. Sometimes these excuses have a certain plausibility, but none of them really make sense in the light of the havoc an alcoholic's drinking bout creates. They sound like the philosophy of the man who, having a headache, beats himself on the head with a hammer so that he can't feel the ache. If you draw this fallacious reasoning to the attention of an alcoholic, he will laugh it off or become irritated and refuse to talk. Once in a while, he may tell the truth, and the truth, strange to say, is usually that he has no more idea why he took that first drink than you have. Some drinkers have excuses with which they are satisfied part of the time, but in their hearts, they really do not know why they do it.
Okay,
What?
stop there for a second. Okay, so for our purposes, I'm going to answer this question. We do know why we do it. Alcoholics of our type, when we're left alone and away from treatment and away from AA meetings and this type of long-term recovery, what happens to us is our mind starts to go off again, and for some reason we decide to pick up a drink. I'm talking about alcoholics of our type. Now, in this book, they're talking about they're describing the alcoholic of the hopeless variety, people who've already crossed the line. Like Bill Wilson, you read his story, it's like, it's like, oh my God, there's a successful financier on Wall Street, nice, beautiful family, wife, house, job, everything. He drinks himself right out of all of that. And some people here may say, well, I wasn't that bad. Some people here may say, well, that's exactly how I was. It helps when you pick up the first drink, all control goes away sooner or later. Sometimes it goes away right away. Sometimes it'll take 4 or 5 or 6 months. I knew a guy, he had 14 years, and he drank normally for 6 months, but normally for him was drinking a case of beer a day. I was like, what? And then he really went to pieces after that, and he came back into AA and got sober. So my contention here, folks, is in the alcoholic mind, for those of us who are here that stick around here in this meeting, if we don't keep coming to AA meetings on a regular basis and schedule AA meetings, like the way we take showers and brush our teeth and eat every day, set up a schedule of AA meetings for the rest of your life, you're probably going to go back to drinking. And this is the description of that. Your mind will start talking to you. It'll tell you you're going to be okay. You start to forget about AA. You go, I'm okay, I'm good. I have a really nice life, and I've done a little therapy, and not only that, I'm doing some huge human potential courses, and I did S, and then I'm going to church, things are fine, and I've studied this and that. And then one day you're at a New York Yankees baseball game, and the beer guy comes around, and you say, the beer is fucking hot out here. And you have that beer, and then before you know it, 6 months later, you're a mess again. So we do have an answer for this question. In the alcoholic mind of this type of alcoholic will start talking to you if you stop coming to AA meetings. And you may say to me, oh, that is bullshit. I don't know. I scared myself enough times that I just kept coming to AA. I started coming here in February of 1975. How many years is that, Laura? That's a long time, isn't it? Is that 50 years? That's almost 50. Oh, it's 50 years. I was a kid. But why the hell not come here? Because you know where else I would be going? Laura, you know where I'd be going? Where? Oh, she can't unmute. That's okay. I'd be going to the bar. That's no place. All right. I'll keep reading, Jason.
Once this malady has a real hold, they are a baffled lot. There is the obsession that somehow, someday, they will beat the game, but they often suspect they are down for the count. How true this is, few realize. In a vague way, their families and friends sense that these drinkers are abnormal, but everybody hopefully awaits the day when the sufferer will rouse himself from his lethargy and assert his power of will. The tragic truth is that if the man be a real alcoholic, the happy day may not arrive. He has lost control. At a certain point in the drinking of every alcoholic, he passes into a state where the most powerful desire to stop drinking is of absolutely no avail. This tragic situation has already arrived in practically every case long before it is suspected. The fact is that most alcoholics, for reasons yet obscure, have lost the power of choice in drink. Our so-called willpower becomes practically non-existent. We are unable at certain times to bring into our consciousness with sufficient force the memory of the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago. We are without defense against the first drink.
Okay, so let's bracket this paragraph. Okay, and so then this paragraph is the reason that I come to AA meetings on a regular basis, because my mind starts to work on me if I stop coming here. Well, I'll be a son of a... I know. Well, that's you, that's not me. I know. But it's why I have 47 years, 48 years sober, and most people who come to AA go back out and drink themselves to death. The odds are not good. But in this meeting, we just tell it like it is. You got to set up a schedule of meetings and don't fuck around with this. You have a deadly illness, and the only cure for it, or the only way to prevent it, is to not drink and come to AA meetings on a regular basis. I always recommend a couple of meetings a week. It's only an hour compared to the 5 or 6 hours that you would spend drinking every day. All right, back to Jason.
Okay. The almost certain consequences that follow taking even a glass of beer do not crowd into the mind to deter us. If these thoughts occur, they are hazy and readily supplanted with the old threadbare idea that this time we shall handle ourselves like other people. There is a complete failure of the kind of defense that keeps one from putting his hand on a hot stove. The alcoholic may say to himself in the most casual way, "It won't burn me this time, so here's how." Or perhaps he doesn't think at all. How often have some of us began to drink in this nonchalant way, and after the third or fourth, pounded on the bar and said to ourselves, "For God's sakes, how did I ever get started again?" Only to have that thought supplanted by, "Well, I'll stop with the sixth drink," or "What's the use anyhow?" When this sort of thinking is fully established in an individual with alcoholic tendencies, he has probably placed himself beyond human aid, and unless locked up, may die or go permanently insane. These stark and ugly facts have been confirmed by legions of alcoholics throughout history, but for the grace of God, there would have been thousands more convincing demonstrations. So many want to stop, but cannot. And I'll pass over here.
Thank you. Hey, Jeff, you want to pick it up from there?
Jeff, Alcoholic, South Florida, page 25. There is a solution. Almost none of us like the self-searching, the leveling of our pride, the confession of shortcomings, which the process requires for its successful consummation. but we saw that it really worked in others, and we had come to believe in the hopelessness and futility of life as we had been living it. When therefore we were approached by those in whom the problem had been solved, there was nothing left for us but to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed.
Okay, stop right there for a second.
Mhm.
So everybody bracket this this paragraph. You can underline where it says there is a solution. And then oftentimes you'll see this last sentence quoted in AA meetings. We have been rocketed into fourth dimension of existence. We had never dreamed. Okay, keep going, Jeff.
Yes, Jeff Alcoholic. The great
This
fact
too,
is,
underline this, incidentally. The great fact, go ahead. Mhm.
the great fact is just this and nothing less, that we have had deep and effective spiritual experiences which have revolutionized our whole attitude toward life, toward our fellows, and toward God's universe. The central fact of our lives today is the absolute certainty that our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous. He has commenced to accomplish those things for us which we could never do by ourselves. If you are a serious alcoholic, as we were, we believe there is no middle of the road solution. We were in a position where life was becoming impossible, and if we had passed into the region from which there is no return through human aid, we had but two alternatives. One was to go to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation as best we could, and the other to accept spiritual help. This we did because we honestly wanted to and were willing to make the effort. An American businessman had ability, good sense, and high character. For years, he had floundered from one sanitarium to another. He had consulted the best-known American psychiatrists. He had gone to Europe, placing himself in the care of a celebrated physician, the psychiatrist Dr. Jung, who prescribed. Good.
Yeah, so let's he's talking about Bill Wilson here, and Bill Wilson developed a relationship with Carl Jung. Okay, go ahead. Keep reading.
Yes. Described placing himself in the care of a celebrated physician, the psychiatrist Carl Jung, who had prescribed for him. Though experience had made him skeptical, he finished his treatment with unusual confidence. His physical and mental condition were unusually good. Above all, he believed he had acquired such a profound knowledge of the inner workings of his mind and its hidden springs that relapse that was unthinkable. Nevertheless, he was drunk in a short time. More baffling still, he could give himself no satisfactory explanation for his fall. So he returned to this doctor, whom he admired, and asked him point blank why he could not recover. He wished above all things to regain self-control. He seemed quite rational and well-balanced with respect to other problems, yet he had no control whatever over alcohol. Why is this? He begged the doctor to tell him the whole truth, and he got it. In the doctor's judgment, he was utterly hopeless. He could never regain his position in society, and he would have to place himself under lock and key or hire a bodyguard if he expected to live long. That was the great physician's opinion. But this man still lives and is a free man. He does not need a bodyguard, nor is he confined. He can go anywhere on this earth where other free men go without disaster, provided he remains willing to maintain a certain simple attitude. Some of our alcoholic readers may think they can do without spiritual help. Let us tell you the rest of the conversation our friend had with the doctor. The doctor said, "You have the mind of a chronic alcoholic. I have never seen one single case recover where the state of mind existed to the extent that it does in you." Our friend felt as though the gates of hell had closed on him with a clang. He said to the doctor, "Is there no exception?" "Yes," the doctor replied, "there is. Exceptions to cases as such as yours have been occurring since early times. Here and there, once in a while, alcoholics have had what are called vital spiritual experiences. To me, these occurrences are a phenomena. They appear to be in the nature of huge emotional displacements and rearrangements."
Stop right there.
Yes.
So underline this whole line, this whole section. So this is when you go to a psychiatrist, you go to a treatment center, or you go to an atheist therapist, and they keep giving you a bunch of gobbledygook, and you keep slipping. And then you look at Alcoholics Anonymous, where it talks about this spiritual experience that changes everything. And that's what Alcoholics Anonymous is really about, the psychic change. Okay. And then the other part is, so we need to have that happen, but then we're still not free, because you still have to go to meetings to maintain your spiritual or psychic relationship with recovery and other people. I know it's a son of a bitch, but if you get whooped enough times and you're still alive, you'll gladly come to AA meetings. That's why you see people, they drop in at AA meetings at 5:30 after work every day, or they go before at 7 a.m. That's why they're doing it. It's not like this is a really nice social club and these people are so nice. No, they're doing it because alcoholics have good forgetters, and we'll talk ourselves right into drinking again. Okay, Jeff, keep reading.
Okay, Jeff Alcoholic. Ideas, emotions, and attitudes, which were once the guiding forces of the lives of these men, are suddenly cast to one side, and a completely new set of conceptions and motives begin to dominate them. In fact, I have been trying to produce some such emotional arrangement within you. With many individuals, the methods I have employed are successful, but I have never been successful with an alcoholic of your description. Upon hearing this, our friend was somewhat relieved, for he reflected that after all, he was a very good church member. This hope, however, was destroyed by the doctors telling him that while his religious convictions were very good, in his case, they did not spell the necessary and vital spiritual experience.
Stop right there, Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, back over to Laura. Laura, you want to read the last page and a half here? Oops, here, I'll unmute you. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Here was the terrible dilemma in which our friend found himself when he had the extraordinary experience, which, as we have already told you, made him a free man. We, in our turn, sought the same escape with all the desperation of drowning men. What seemed at first a flimsy reed has proved to be the loving, powerful hand of God. A new life has been given us, or, if you prefer, a design for living that really works. The distinguished.
Okay, stop right there. Underline that, a design for living that really works. Okay, there it is. This is, hang on for 1 second. A new life has been given us, or if you prefer, a design for living that really works. Underline that. This is famously said in AA meetings. And that's what we're doing here. We're doing a design for living that really works. Okay, go ahead.
The distinguished American psychologist William James, in his book Varieties of Religious Experience, indicates a multitude of ways in which men have discovered God.
Let me stop you for a second there. So, Varieties of Religious Experience by William James was a popular, very popular religious book in the 1930s. And this is why Bill Wilson referenced it here. I mean, he also references Franklin Delano Roosevelt's inaugural speech of 1932, where we have nothing to fear but fear itself. You know, that was, some people say, well, that's right out of AA. No, that's right out of Roosevelt's inaugural speech. So he picked up on that. And here he picks up on William James, he was distinguished in the 1930s, but most of us have long since forgotten about him. Go ahead.
We have no desire to convince anyone that there is only one way by which faith can be acquired. If what we have learned and felt and seen means anything at all, it means that all of us, whatever our race, creed, or color, are the children of a living creator with whom we may form a relationship upon simple and understandable terms as soon as we are willing and honest enough to try. Those having religious affiliations will find here nothing disturbing to their beliefs or ceremonies. There is no friction among us over such matters. We think it no concern of ours what religious bodies our members identify themselves with as individuals. This should be an entirely personal affair, which each one decides for himself in the light of past associations or his present choice.
Let me stop again. So Bill essentially was brought up as a Protestant. I don't know exactly which form of Protestantism he was brought up with, but he was certainly brought up with it. And a lot of the people that came to AA meetings were including Dr. Bob. They later reached out to the Catholics, and then they had Sister Ignatia and Father Dowling and in Ohio they were also influencers in the AA program because they wanted it to not be such a Protestant movement. They said, well, we'll let the Catholics into. And then after a while, they said, well, we have Jews coming, and that New York City's, always been a melting pot of religion. So then Muslims came, Hindus, Buddhists, non-theists, atheists. And then suddenly, when Jung talks about psychic change, the psychic experience. So now, and then we sort of approach it from that level here. So if you're, say, an atheist and you're in the third step, well, what exactly is being talked about? And what's being talked about is some type of universal force that's creating a psychic change where we no longer desire to pick up alcohol. It's really kind of a phenomenon. Go ahead, keep reading.
Not all of us join religious bodies, but most of us favor such memberships. In the following chapter, there appears an explanation of alcoholism as we understand it, then a chapter addressed to the agnostic. Many who once were in this class are now among our members. Surprisingly enough, we find such convictions no great obstacles to a spiritual experience. Further on, clear-cut directions are given showing how we recovered. These are followed by 42 personal experiences. Each individual, in the personal stories, describes in his own language and from his own point of view the way he established his relationship with God. These give a fair cross-section of our membership and a clear-cut idea of what has actually happened in their lives. We hope no one will consider these self-revealing accounts in bad taste. Our hope is that many alcoholic men and women desperately in need will see these pages, and we believe that it is only by fully disclosing ourselves and our problems that they will be persuaded to say, yes, I am one of them too. I must have this thing.
All right, perfect. So everybody now make notes on your takeaways. What is your top 1, 2, and 3 takeaways from this chapter? There is a solution. You've heard me talking throughout, and so just give me your big takeaway. We'll start with Daryl. What's your takeaway from this chapter?
It rang really clear to me because we all experience the baseline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it, it was just, I was having flashbacks of my time in rehab. And it was ringing clear. It was
All right. Perfect.
And you said the guys that the atheists and talking about step 3,
Mm-hmm.
I still get it, even though I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
I do get it. I understand it completely.
Yeah, of course. Okay, Rhonda, what your takeaways? Go.
The was it Dr. Jekyll and
Yeah.
Mr. Hyde. Yeah.
Mhm.
That part, because, I learned that I lost the power of choice.
Okay.
And that it was really hard. I thought I could just have one drink or one or two.
Mhm.
But that wasn't the case at all. So, it's kind of the threaded throughout this entire chapter of
Do you
that.
turn
So,
into Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when you drink?
yeah, I can. I used to just be the happy-go-lucky, and then
Yeah.
it turned into one thing. You say one thing to me, and I just kind of snap. So,
All right.
yeah.
Perfect. We used to have a lady, every time she got drunk, she tried to murder her husband.
Oh, well,
And
mine's
she
not
was-
that drastic, but
No,
yeah.
I know, but she was perfectly nice person. And then she'd get thrown in jail, but she tried to kill him. I was like, what's that? What? Ron, how about you? What was your takeaway from this?
I'm Ron, I'm an alcoholic. The first one, that there is a solution,
Oh, yeah.
on page 25. The second is to accept spiritual help, and we have to be willing and honest enough to try.
All right. Lisa, your takeaways on this chapter.
Okay, are you there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course we're here.
Okay, hi, Lisa, alcoholic. I still resonate with page 28 where it says a new life has been given to us if we prefer a design for living that really works.
Yeah.
Because you hand us all the tools, and it's helped me, like, not only in my life without alcohol, but in every aspect of my life. So I've been able to handle things a little bit differently and proactively.
Perfect.
Let's see, page 20, we have recovered from a hopeless condition of mind and body.
Yeah.
So we have just learned a new way of living, and it comes a little bit clearer. And
Stop right there. Perfect. Over to Rebecca. Hit us up. What's your takeaway? Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, hi, Rebecca, alcoholic. My great takeaways are, I am a great forgetter. We alcoholics are great forgetters.
Oh, yeah.
This disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful.
There you go.
I cannot pick up that first drink, and I cannot say to myself, oh yeah, everything's good. One night wasn't so bad, one drunk wasn't bad, but the next night was horrible. But we're great forgetters, and we had to have a psychic change and keep coming to meetings.
Yeah, that's why I keep coming.
Yeah.
George, how about you? Your takeaways?
My George, alcoholic. My takeaways are to don't pick up that first drink, so that you don't fall into this trap, and that we can't do it alone. And with our spiritual help, we can do most things that we cannot do alone.
Perfect. I like it. Laura, your takeaways.
I had some of the same as everybody else. I don't, this just keeps coming up. The mental blank spot before the first drink, the necessity of a vital spiritual experience, and to me, a design for living is the steps.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Glad. Jeff, your takeaway on this.
Jeff, alcoholic, South Florida. Yes, that our alcoholic's body and mind are quite different from others. So we have the obsession of the mind and the craving of the body. Built-in forgetters. We cannot remember how badly we suffered from the last drink, and the only way that this is really overcome is through a psychic change, spiritual experience. In this case, working the steps of 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and attending meetings.
Yeah, perfect. Jason, how about you?
Jason, alcoholic, towards the top of page 19. important thing is we feel that elimination of our drinking is but a beginning. And then towards the top of page 20, our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend upon our constant thought of others and how we may help meet their needs. It's not just about stopping to drink, changing my selfish attitudes plays a big role here. And of course, realizing the madness, cunning, baffling, powerful, using a hammer to get rid of my headache, those type of things, forgetting my past, recognizing that I have an alcoholic mind and it makes me think certain ways. So I have to be on guard for that.
Lewis, how about you? Your takeaways?
I could hit on everything, but I like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing.
Oh, yeah.
I got so good at kind of hiding it. My family thought that I had bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
And I had, once I got sober, I was like, you guys, that was when I was drinking, and this is when I was sober. I was
Oh
more
my God.
agitated and all that stuff. But everything, hit, that first drink, it might seem harmless, like even at the time. And a week later, he's like, oh, I only drank, a couple times this week. And then eventually, like, I think it said 6 months down the road.
Perfect. Stop right there. Patrick from Alabama, your takeaways.
Everybody said everything that I thought, just how cunning and powerful it is, how easy it is to take that first drink or talk myself into it.
Amazing, isn't it? Okay, good. And then Ryan, your takeaways. Thank you.
My takeaway was coming up with a schedule or a structure that, whether it be attending meetings or doing readings, and just sticking to it.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. That's right. Mo, how about you? Working on day one, your takeaway.
First takeaway is that I am the hopeless variety. Step 2 is it gives a really almost ridiculously simple remedy for how to fix it. And 3 is that every time I've tried to do this, I've never been able to get the spiritual link. And that's always what just still to this day just kills me. So anyways.
Excellent. Keep coming here. Go ahead, Janice, your takeaways. And mine was the great obsession of every alcoholic is that one day he may be able to drink like normal people. I think not so much if I stopped coming to meetings, because I was sick for a year and I only went to 5 meetings, and I didn't think about drinking at all. But if I decide, I think I'm going to go to this bar regularly, and because there's dancing and music there, and I decide that I could place myself in a bar on a regular basis and not drink, that's the danger zone for somebody like me. Or I start hanging out with drinking people, or I start going to parties where there's Coke and gin and beer and free goods. It's like, that's the danger zone. Because I'm not like normal that way. Totally not. All right. Ron, you want to read the promises in the Serenity Prayer?
I'm Ron. I'm an alcoholic. These are the promises from chapter 6 on page 83 in the AA Big Book. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook on life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. And after a moment of silence for the alcoholic who's still suffering inside this room and outside this room, we'll close with the serenity prayer. A moment of silence. And the serenity prayer.